Okay, so there are 13 fights on the card. The prelims, oh my god, I don't even know what's going on, people. I can talk. Yes, the prelims, we start off with 7. First on the card, right? We've got, how do I say this name? I'm gonna be butchering names today, people. I really am. Jeez. So we have got Yuneisy Duben against Carli Judice, right? So this is a flyweight bout, right? It's a flyweight bout, and Duben. I'm just gonna call her Duben. I'm not even sure if I'm saying that correctly. Fuck. Well, she's on a run, right? Coming from the Contender Series. She's been blazing. First round stoppage of Shannon Clark, right? And I think all she's had really is stoppages. You know what I mean? She's been turning girls' lights out, right? Turning girls' lights out. Went the distance a couple of times as an amateur, but yeah, she is. She's not one to go the full free. She's got a submission, but mainly it's been punches, right? The hands are her weapons. She is going up against, Carli Judice. Judice. I'm not quite sure. Like, they both fought in the Contender Series. Judice, she came up short. Got a last minute call up to the UFC. Lost a split decision. I think with this one, right? I think the big thing with this one is momentum. And Duben has the momentum coming in. So I'm going with our girl, Yuneisy Duben, to take the win. We are sticking with the ladies, right? We have got Josiane Nunes against Priscila Cachoeira. All right. Now, this one it's interesting, right? Because Nunes came into the UFC and was like doing her thing. You know what I mean? She racked up 3 wins. Her debut, she got a knockout. Right? Got a knockout. Then she went the distance. But was look good. She then lost a couple of fights. The last was a split decision. But I think with Nunes, she's small. Right? Firstly, she's small for the division. But also, you wonder about her fight IQ, right? About her ability to change things up, the skill set, right? What is she working on? So that's the thing with her. Now, she's fighting Priscila Cachoeira, right? Zombie girl next, who I feel is very lucky to still be in the UFC. You know what I mean? After, the fact that she bit, right? She bit Gillian Robinson, which was crazy. So she's lucky to be. She pulled off 2 wins after the Robinson loss, but has lost her last 2. Now, 2 very good competition. Miranda Maverick and Jasmine Jadcevajevic, right? Who Jasmine's been on a tear. So there's no shame in those losses, right? Maverick was a former Invicta champion, and, been looking good, right? So they're both coming off losses. I just feel when Cachoeira is on, she's very good, right? She's very good. Like, at the beginning of everything, you did think that she might be able to contend at some point. So I'm thinking on their best days, I'm going Cachoeira. You know what I mean? I'm going Cachoeira, people, right? To take the win. And that was a bantamweight fight. Now, we are back with the flyweights, but this time it's the men. Right, we have Daniel Barez against Andre Lima. So, Lima is coming in hot. I mean, he's been winning fights, people. You know what I mean? He might be your type. I don't know. But I'm talking about his win streak. He's been blazing. Won all 3 UFC fights. Came via the Contender Series. The first fight was the infamous biting incident. But since then, he's picked up a couple more. Right? Picked up a couple more. Now, he is going up against Daniel Barez, right? Daniel Barez. And he's coming off a win in his last one, He also was on the Contender Series. Didn't go his way, right? But he beat Victor Altonero in his last outing, September last year. Now, this one, it is it's one of those tricky fights. It's a close situation. And I can think, right? So, Barez, he's lost a couple with submissions. He's lost a couple by submissions. And I think that, I think I'm going with Lima. He's the younger fighter. He's got some momentum, right? He's finished a good few fights. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's okay on the ground. He does finish via body. Like, he's punching. He does finish with his hands. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go Lima here to take the win. Right, so we are back with the ladies. 3 ladies fights on this card. I will say, when we come to the UFC, they do usually give us 3 ladies fights, And that's always a good look, right? This time, it's the strawweights. We got Stephanie Luciano against Sam Hughes. Which... yeah, this interesting, right? Sam Hughes, aka I think it's Sam Page. I'm not sure about the nickname, right? I'm not sure about the nickname, but Sam Hughes, resilience, for sure, right? Now, she was blazing in the LFA, lost to oh gosh, what's her frigging name? The Vanessa Donopoulos, right? And she was winning that fight, right? Got caught in the 4th round, but was winning that fight. Came to the UFC, got, she won the LFA title, then got to the UFC. Things lost the first 3, but then came back. Came back 1-2, lost 1, then won another, and that's how it's been, losing, winning. But in a lot of the fights, she's down, but claws her way back. So we know Sam has mad heart. Mad heart. Right? She's going against Stephanie Luciano, who is, coming from the Contender Series, right? She's fought in the UFC, won that. But I think the big one with Luciano, the fight that she had in the Contender Series, so much heart. Like, she came back. She lost the first round and just came back and was looking fire, right? And then she, beats Alan Carr in her UFC debut. So I think, she's got mad momentum, and she's tough as fuck. I think she's gonna take the win, but it's another one of them difficult ones, because I wouldn't be shocked if Sam pulls it out, because that's what Sam does. But I'm going with Stephanie here. You know what I mean? I'm going with Stephanie. So we are back to the fellas, and it's the bantamweight division, right? First of 3 men's bantamweight clashes on the card. We've got Carlos Vera against Josias Musa, right? So Musa, right, the KO wizard, he is on a tear. He's on a tear, This will be his UFC debut, coming via the Contender Series, where he won a split decision. Before that, it's basically all stoppages. You know what I mean? Basically all stoppages, and early stoppages as well. I think one time he went just to the second round. So he's a bit of a firecracker. So he's going up against Carlos Vera, who, like Musa, he's fought one time in the UFC, fought in the LFA, He lost his UFC debut. Lost his UFC by decision. He's got some submissions in his game, Got some submissions, but he's been submitted as well. I believe his UFC fight was a short notice affair. But, again, I think sometimes when it's close, when you don't have a whole lot of tape to play with, you look at momentum, right? You look at momentum, and Josias Musa is full of momentum, people. So I'm saying Josias for the win. Josias for the win, right? So our second of 3 bantamweight clashes, we got Yo Song Young against AJ Cunningham. So Young, right? He is coming off a win in his UFC debut. He's gone the distance a few times. He's got a couple of stoppages. He's got some submissions, And AJ, right? AJ, the Savage Cunningham, he's coming off a loss to Ludovic Klein. And there's no shame. There's definitely no shame in that, because Klein is a savage, right? Ludovic Klein is, terrifying. It was a body kick, right? A body kick. He's been stopped a couple of times. In his career. He's been submitted, and so with this one, I feel, right, Young, he's got a few submissions, right? He's got some, he can stop people, right? He's coming, again, momentum. So I'm going with Su Yung for the win. So our main fight in the prelims, we have got the big lads, right? It's heavyweight time. Waldo Cortes-Acosta against Ryan Spann. Now, this fight, right? Waldo, he's on a 3-fight win streak, right? So when you think about it, on paper, it's fire, right? That's fire. He's only lost one time in his career. Only lost one time. And on the flip, he's going up against Ryan Superman Spann, right? Who, it's been up and down. 8 fights he's won in the UFC, 5 losses. He came via the Contender Series, lost first time, won the second time. And when Spann is on, he can look tremendous. Right? Beat Misha Kirshunov. He beat Ian Cutelabra, Dominic Reyes. Oven St. Preux. He's got some big victories. But then he's lost some fights where you just think he could have won that, right? He could have won the Anthony Smith fight. Could have won that. Both Anthony Smith's fights even, right? The Johnny Walker fight. There's fights that Spann could have won. But when he's on, when he's focused, he's dangerous. Costa, yes, he's not lost. But some of those fights, kind of lackluster. Right? Kind of lackluster. And you feel at times he doesn't pull the trigger. You wonder has he only got one gear? Right? What's the deal? So, I'm going Ryan Spann to take it. But this is a fun one. This is a fun one to bring us into the main card, right? So, people, who have you got, right? Who have you